Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan, and in today's vlog you will see my interview with Rolf Ellmer, aka Jam Ellmer, about the Jam & Spoon classic Stella. But before we start with the interview, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, and very important, also make sure to click the bell button so you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. Alright, here it is, the story behind Stella by Jam & Spoon, my interview with Jam Ellmer. Enjoy! Jam Ellmer is an alias of German DJ and producer Rolf Ellmer. Rolf is active as a musician for a very long time already. He is one half of Jam & Spoon, a project which had a pioneering influence on the trance and techno music that dominated the clubs in the early 90s. But Rolf also produced music under well-known aliases such as Storm, Tokyo Ghetto Pussy and Dance to Trance, to name a few. Because Rolf is responsible for so many great classics, I did a total of 3 interviews with him about some of his biggest tracks. But for this week's vlog, I sat down with Rolf in his beautiful studio to ask him about the story behind the Jam & Spoon classic Stella, a track he did together with the late Mark Spoon back in the year 1992. My first question to Rolf was how old he was when he became interested in music.
When I look back, maybe it was that moment when I discovered the old cello from my father that was hidden in some corner of our apartment, and I opened it and started scratching on it. And yes, I think there are still some photos existing of this.
Oh,
yes. That I should really post some of those on Facebook or Instagram, I don't know. But yeah, I think that was the first time when I touched really an instrument or something. Mm-hmm. And I also remember when I did a trip with my mother through Germany to visit some of our relatives. I discovered an old piano that was hidden on the roof of the building, you know, really dusty, you know. It sounds like a cliche now, but it actually is true. And I was pressing the left pedal where all these, where it will reverb for a longer time. And yes, I was just playing the black keys, and the black keys, if you just play the black keys, it will always sound like a pentatonic scale, so it will always sound right. Mm-hmm. So I played this up and down, and I was so amazed by this reverberation and this you know, overtones and everything, so I was completely blown away. And also, we had the tradition, you know, that in our family we were listening to music during the weekends. You know, my father would put on a record and we would sit down really and listen to music. It's probably not very popular at the moment, you know. Everybody has his own earbuds and listens to his own stuff, but you know, back in the days we were just sitting down and listening to music.
Oh wow! So you're classically trained, right?
That's right. Yes, yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I went to the Frankfurt School of Music, the Hochschule für Darstellende Musik und Kunst. You know, I think it's called. And yes, I have a diploma as a guitarist, which I think is really a funny thing that you have a diploma. But yeah, it's like that.
Yeah. So around what time did you start like making music yourself?
When I listened to Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
When I started to listen to Jimi Hendrix's records, especially there's one record that I really can say that was the starting gun for my musicianhood. It was it's a track called Voodoo Child. Mm-hmm, yeah. And on the back, you know, the B-side was All Along the Watchtower. And when I listen to these tracks these days, I'm completely electrified. It was such an amazing piece of music, and amazingly recorded. You know, back in the days, you know, you didn't have the facilities that we have now. It was just like very creative, kind of making something into something that was completely unknown before. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I was completely blown away. I was 9 years old or 8 years old by that time. But I was listening to the record over and over. It was that record was not my property. It was belonged to a friend of my brother. But I think I played it, I don't know how many 100 times. I gave it back. It was like a spiral.
So do you still recall your very first ever release?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, it was a crappy track. Next question, please.
Skip. So you're mostly known under your alias Jam Elmer, and of course as one half of Jam and Spoon, together with the late Mark Spoon. How did you and Mark get to meet each other?
I think it was in 1990, and during this time you could hire studio musicians. I don't know if this is still possible, because everyone has his own studio. But at that time, there were studio musicians, like really well-trained musicians who could play their instrument very well, and you can like book a guitarist or book like a drummer, and you could book Jam Elmer. Of course, I wasn't Jam Elmer back at that time, but I was working as a studio musician. But during this time, I was already started on a project called Dance to Trance. You probably heard about this. And and so Mark Spoon was going to ask DJ Dark, which was one of the members of the Dance to Trance. He was asking him, you have this knob twiddler, this keyboarder guy, who's doing this, can you give me his telephone number? Yes, I can. I dropped the number, and Mark Spoon was calling me, I have to do this remix, and can we hire a studio and do this together? And said, yes, sure, we can go to the studio. Back at that time, you hired studios for hell lot of money, and then you would prepare your keyboards and everything, and you started recording on a multi-track, and this is what we did. And I arrived at the studio, built all my stuff, my keyboards and everything, Atari computer back at that time, and we wanted to start maybe at, I think, 11 o'clock, and Mark Spoon came in like maybe 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, completely late. But when he entered through the door, I knew it was going to be a special time. Mm-hmm. And it went so well that he kept booking me over and over again. And one day we said, it works so well, we should really make a project together. We should really start something, establish our own stuff. And this is how Jam and Spoon happened.
Okay. So next year it's 30 years ago since the first Jam and Spoon release came out. In the year 1991, you guys released an album which was called Breaks Unit 1. Mm-hmm. And 1 year later, in 1992, you guys released Tales from a Dancographic Ocean, a record with 3 tracks. The first track of the record became a massive classic, Stella. I know it's a long time ago, but do you still remember something from the production process of Stella?
Yes, I knew. Yeah, well, to be honest, there was nothing really special. It was nothing like, then God opened heaven and sent some rays to us, and suddenly there was Stella. No, it was just like, hey, what's going on? How are you? And yeah, let's make some music. And actually, it went like this. Mark Spoon, again, we wanted to start 11 o'clock. Mark Spoon came 2 o'clock or something. And during that time, of course, I was hanging out in the studio, and then I played some chords, and that was the chords of Stella. And I had this special sound that came from an Oberheim expander, which is right there, up there. Still, it doesn't work right anymore, but the sound was coming out of that box. And and I found the keys and everything, and sampled a loop from Moby Go and put some other rhythmical parts underneath. And so I think the backbone of Stella was pretty there when he came. And then we arranged together, and when in the evening we had a track, and that was Stella. So it was more or less like usual studio work.
Yeah. So it was done in within one day.
Yeah, the track was really done in one day.
Oh, wow.
And the other tracks also was just a good moment,
Yeah.
During that time we were just making tracks and just it just worked. You know?
There was not like a whole idea behind it with marketing and it has to sound like this, and you were just having fun and making music.
Yeah, let's just make tracks for the dance floor and just enjoy making music. I mean, back at that time, there was no really like rule or shall we go more techno? Shall we go more trance? Shall we go this? Shall we do this? And there was nothing like this. There was just club music, and people were really, DJs were playing all kinds of music during a night. Even hip hop. Snap. The power, and then they were switching into something completely different. So there was a lot of variety, and there was not like a techno DJ in the sense that we have today, or a trance DJ like this. He represents the sound of trance or whatever. There was nothing like that. It was completely open book. A
DJ was just a DJ.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's actually not a really DJ friendly track, right? Because it starts like there's not really starting with beats, and at the end it slows down.
Yeah, that's right. And when I play it live, I always try to make a loop before it slows down, like on this rhythm. Then you can have a good transition into the next track. But or you can, when you play it in the end and the beat goes slower and slower and slower, you have a nice end. But it's not a typical DJ track, of course. And there were no really typical easy to mix DJ tracks, except of some US records, who already had beats in front, and DJ beats, that way you can easily mix. But usually we had these huge intros, minutes long, like 3 minutes, Thorsten Fenslau, he had so many tracks, with minutes of the guy talking wow, 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 and people standing on the dance floor like this. Today is impossible, people will go, say, oh, boring, bye-bye.
So you already mentioned that the Oberheim, what other equipment was used for the track?
This guy behind me, where the boop boop came, this was System 700. Have a look, guys and girls, and and some others, the 909, of course, which is like the classical drum machine, and some what else? S1000, some samplers, and I had an Emax back at that time, the Emax 1, which is also like the instruments back at that time, they had a certain signature sound, and today all the synths sound well, they sound really, really good, but you have to look really close to find something with character. But still there are plugins which have character, but back at that time all these instruments had a certain sound because of their structure.
So the guitar of Stella, is it a real guitar?
No, it's like some little Japanese guys running around in a S1000 and making some noise. No, it's a preset. It's a preset from Akai.
Okay.
It's called Classical Guitar number 2 or something like that.
So who does the vocals in Stella?
That's a singer from a little city outside of Frankfurt called Darmstadt, and she was living there back at that time. And we did a recording on a completely different production, and we had some outtakes, and we were always doing some fun tracks, recording some fun tracks with ad-libs and stuff like that. Some crazy stuff that would come into mind and just, put it on the record, and maybe we can sample something. And I took it from there.
Okay.
It was her name is Taya, and we did another exclusive track. Maybe I think over there I see the CD. Maybe hold on. No, I can't because I'm connected.
Okay. We'll do it later.
Yeah.
Why did you guys decide to call the track Stella? Is there a story behind the title?
Of course, there's a story, and of course I was always bad in naming the tracks. I'm a musician. I just do music and then it's finished for me. But Marcus, mastermind, he had ideas about crazy titles, Tales from a Dancographic Ocean, which is of course Tales from a Topographic Ocean, from Yes, the band Yes, famous band from the UK, and And of course, he said, "Do you have something against the idea that we call it Stella?" No problem with this, because Stella was, back at that time, he had a girlfriend who, her name was Stella, and he wanted to make a dedication to her. And this was, the idea behind Stella.
So, speaking of Stella, your daughter's name is also Stella, right?
That's right.
Yes. So does she think it's cool she's named after such a classic track?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, so she's proud? Good.
Yes. I think one day she was asking, why did you call me Stella? And I said, because first, it's a nice name. And second, because I had a track, that was called Stella. And of course, it was a dedication to a different person, but, you are the Stella 1999. Mm-hmm. And so, this was why we named her Stella.
Yeah, because usually you have people that name a track after their kid or their loved one. So, but you named your daughter after the track.
That's right.
The other way around. Hey.
Exactly. Yes.
So was it hard to find a label for the track?
No, it was very easy, to be honest. It was easy because Mark Spoon already knew Renat from RNS Records personally, and RNS Records back at that time was like Drum Code or something like this. What is Drum Code now? When you had a release on RNS Records, you are, you make a jump from zero to top. And I think almost every really famous artist back at that time released on RNS Records. And so we had, this great release on RNS Records. And I think this was really, rocketing us, to the, top level of productions. And it was really great. So it was like through a personal contact, but of course, if Renat would not like the track, then he would, of course, say, no, guys, go back again to the studio and next time. But he liked the track very much, so it was good.
Good. So were you surprised by the success of Stella?
Yes, I was surprised because it wasn't like a typical hit record or anything like this. It was just 2 chords, a few pads, love me, hold me, a little piano, it was just, but it was full of atmosphere and, unusual things happening. But because of that, I never thought it's going to be like big, but it's going to be, work on the dance floor. I was sure about that, but that it would take over so much and become such a classic. Of course, no one could anyhow tell that this is going to happen. It just happened,
Yeah. So do you have any idea how many copies of Stella have been sold during the years?
No. It was released by RNS, and they had like a major partner in the UK, Rhythm King. I think it was released by Rhythm King, but they closed the doors back at that time. So I don't know how many copies, to be honest. I think commercially it was never really a big success, but it was an icon of that time, became an icon.
Yeah, it wasn't really like a radio track, it was more like in the clubs and So recently several Jam and Spoon classics came out with new remixes. For example, Stella got remixed in 2019 by Kulsch. And in 2020 Ride in the Night and Set Me Free came out with new remixes. Very recently Thomas Schumacher did a cool remix of Follow Me. Can you already tell me if there are more remixes in the works?
Yes, not the Jam and Spoon, but we are going to release Storm later the next month. Today we are the 31st of August, and it's going to be released on the 18th of September on Beatport. And official release is on the 2nd of October. And it's from the also quite famous track called Storm that we released, I think, in
98, I think.
Yeah? Okay. All right. You're the one. Okay. All right. Yeah, well, it's going to be a nice pick and version, very deep, very fantastic remix by the guys that I admire very much, and a remix by myself, which is a bit more, bit more noisy. You check it out.
Yeah. So, how important has Stella been for your career?
Very important, of course. I mean, to be honest, if there would not be Stella, if there would be no Age of Love, if there would be no Follow Me, and especially Stella, I think no one really would take interest on myself, what I'm doing. And, but the guys who are doing the famous Nature One festival, they were calling once and said, we have this retro stage, and would you like to do a German Spoon live set? And I said, well, I'm okay, I'm gonna do this. I don't know how, but I'm gonna do this. And of course, if there would not be no Stella, if there would be no German Spoon and Dance to Trance, and nobody would really take interest about the things that I'm doing. This is really what manifested German Spoon.
Yeah. So you did a lot of remixes as Jam and Spoon as well. There are Jam and Spoon remixes for acts and artists such as Moby, Queen, Pet Shop Boys, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Enigma, New Order, Marilyn Manson, Giorgio Moroder, and of course, you already mentioned it, the Jam and Spoon Watch Out for Stella remix of The Age of Love. So that remix title was actually a sort of an advertisement for the release of Stella, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, the Watch Out for Stella remix, of course, that was a very clever idea by Mark Spoon. He said, we're calling it like this, and then we already have like a hint for some people to check out our next release. And I think when the Age of Love remix came out, there was already like a release plan for Stella, and so it was clever. It was already like a good connection.
So the Age of Love, it's kind of funny that most people think that the Jam and Spoon remix of Age of Love is the original version. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I think it's a bit unfair to be honest, but we put a lot of new things on top, and I think that makes it stick out more than even the original already did. The guys who did the original they're fantastic. They did also other tracks that became really, really famous, and I think the original is already a fantastic track, and I always enjoyed it, listening and dancing to it in the clubs back in the 90s, when it came out. And but we put a few things on top, and I think we could maybe let the track shine really more than the original. And so I think, people probably think that it's a Jam and Spoon track. And it is a Jam and Spoon track, but a remix, not an original track.
So is this also the remix you're the most proud of?
Yes, I think so. I mean, we did some nice remixes, but this is the most iconic, of course. I mean, this was really one of the roots of Jam and Spoon, definitely.
I mean, you did remix people such as Queen and Giorgio Moroder, so that's pretty cool as well, of course.
Of course, yes. Yeah. And Quincy Jones, of course, there was Quincy Jones remix that was fantastic. But I think when we did the Quincy Jones remix, there was no Jam and Spoon already. I think it was just, we just gathered and we started recording. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a bit about Mark Spoon. For 15 years long, you guys worked on lots of projects and remixes. How was it to work with Mark? If he showed up on time?
He never showed up in time. But still, it was very good to work with. I think we were... I don't know the English word for that. In German, we say kongeniale Partner, like partners that really work well, partners in crime, maybe you say. I don't know, but this is it was Mark Spoon, of course, was not an easy person to get along with, but for some reason we always managed to get results, and we got along very well together. It was just like like a fantastic combination. Honestly, I don't think there was anyone in my whole career as a producer that fit so well to my ideas and visions. It was just like he had his ideas, and I had my musician world kind of thing, and together it was just like two puzzle pieces that would fit absolutely perfect into each other. It was just fantastic work.
Okay. So as most people mostly know, Mark sadly passed away at the age of 39, early 2006. Later in 2006, you made a special tribute version of the Jam and Spoon classic Be Angeled for Mark, which you and singer Ray did perform at the Love Parade in Berlin. There were over 1 million people there. That must have been a very special moment for you.
Oh yeah. It was a very special moment because Mark Spoon was missing, of course, and it was a very special moment also to see this unbelievable mass of people from all over the world coming together to dance and to celebrate. And I think this is something that has never been really reached with this kind of spirit. I mean, we have big festivals now. We have Tomorrowland, and we have, you name it. But the Love Parade was very special because how it began as a small demo, as a small protest kind of idea that motto was establishing, became all of a sudden into this like worldwide movement. I think that was absolutely like visionary. It was amazing. And so Mark Spoon was playing there, I don't know how many times, and now I had the opportunity to play there as well, and I was standing there and one at this große Stern, right where everything gathers, and I was looking down the street and the sun was going down, and I saw like endless people dancing on one bass drum. It was absolutely amazing, but it was I was very twisted. My feelings were like, okay, well, Mark should have been here, really, not myself. And it's not easy. I'm still thinking about Mark Spoon every day, not only one time, many times, and because everything in my life reminds me of him. And I miss him a lot, I can say that. And I can tell you one thing. I had a dream maybe a couple of weeks ago, and actually Mark Spoon appeared in my dream, and we were doing some things, just very common, nothing really special. Then we were sitting down at a table, and I was asking him, where the hell have you been all this time? And he said, what do you mean? I was always there. And then that was the only thing I remember from this dream. And it's definitely like this, he's still there, his spirit, of course.
So the Jam and Spoon project turns 30 next year. If you look back, what is your favorite memory when it comes to the Jam and Spoon project?
Oh, I don't know. There are so many great memories. It was just, there's not one thing, that I would say, this is the moment of my life or the moment of Jam and Spoon. There were many wonderful moments, that would make, this whole era that we have been going through. Maybe the travels with Mark, and receiving these awards, golden records, and of course that brought a lot of like a lot of new experiences to me, and this is maybe the most interesting thing. And of course it's amazing when you have success. I mean, it doesn't make you a better person, of course, but it's amazing when your music gets acknowledged and loved by people. Even today I get a lot of emails saying, because of you I started making music, or because of you I I discovered your music through a very difficult period of my life, and you were supporting me getting out of this problems, you know. And I think this is really all worth it because of that, you know. That you when you do something, you want to give an experience to people. You want to make them, you want to move them, and the best thing if you make them happy with your music. I mean, if they have like a wonderful time with your music, there's nothing more you can achieve as a musician or as a DJ or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. And you guys also went to Top of the Pops?
Yeah, yeah, several times. I was there with Marcus and in London, you know, and the BBC. And we were, you know, of course, we were faking playing keyboards, and I think he had a record player and doing some scratches, although there was no scratches.
Yeah,
and
nothing connected.
But Plavka was singing live, and yes, I think I was the Top of the Pops many times. Yes, it was nice. It's very sad actually that it doesn't exist anymore, but times change.
Yeah,
what can you do?
That's true. So do you have something in mind already for the 30th anniversary of Jam and Spoon?
No, I don't have no idea.
No.
Probably it just will pass, and you know, I think every day when you get like good feedback about music, you know, when someone, I was mentioning this before, when someone writes an email like I have been growing up with your music when I was a teenager or something, then I think this is every time this is a celebration for Jam and Spoon. So I'm not too much into these anniversaries, to be honest.
Okay. And the last question: pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Pineapple, definitely.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you very much for your time, and good luck with everything.
Take good care.
Alright, that was it. This week's vlog, my interview with Rolf Ellmer, aka Jam Ellmer, about the Jam and Spoon classic Stella. Rolf, thank you very much for your time, much appreciated. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and very important, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. I did 2 more interviews with Rolf. In one of the interviews we're going to discuss Power of American Natives, a classic which he did together with DJ Duck under the name Dance to Trance. And I will talk with him as well about Storm and Storm. That was another project he did together with the late Mark Spoon. So those should be online in the next couple of weeks as well. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.